just wanted to show a close-up of each of the dolls. Each one has their own unique little personality, characteristics. So it just shows you what fun you can have with the different colors, different lengths for the scarves, different colors in the scarves. I made the pocket a little larger for the one boy elf compared to the other. So I like the deeper pocket that I showed on video tutorial. Also, the eyes are a lot of fun. These eyes are by 6060 Eyes. They have a wreath. This is a silver wreath. And then here's an example of the blue wreath. And then again the silver wreath. And then I have a silver wreath with the orange-haired. And then the blue wreath with the black-haired. And you can see what fun you can have with the earrings as well. So she has little snowman earrings. And then she has button earrings. And then the other girl doll also has some button earrings. They're candy canes. And then also with the stockings, the stocking legs, you could see I had some fun with the different colors. The pink one I really like. So she has a little pink dress with unicorns. And then she even has a pom-pom and a bell. One of each on her shoes. For the crochet boy elf outfit, you're going to need your 3.75 millimeter crochet hook, as well as your darning needle or tapestry needle, and a pair of scissors. The yarn that I'm using on video tutorial is by Red Heart Soft. Here's some information about the yarn. And I love this color too, but I'm not going to use this color for the outfit. This is a seafoam color if you like this lighter blue colored yarn. Here's some information about this yarn. I'm actually going to be using the same yarn, but this is a gorgeous teal color. So I'm going to use teal for one of the elf outfits. Now you could use the same colored yarn for the pocket if you wanted to. For mine, I'm going to go ahead and use my bright red or cherry red yarn. It's a Red Heart yarn equivalent, medium 4 yarn. If you like the keys and the locket that I chose to put into the pocket, the keys come in a pack of 5. This is a wood embellishment. This is by Moments. Moments. Wood embellishment comes with 5 pieces. I've already used a lot of them. And then the locket that I used, Curiouser and Curiouser by Fairy Tale. Bead Treasures. Now for this pattern, you're going to be learning a variation of the V-stitch. So you're going to have fun with this pattern. If you want to change the size of this pattern, it's a multiple of 4 plus 1. So the first thing you're going to do is just take your yarn and you're going to fold it over on itself to form a loop. Then take your crochet hook, go right through the loop, hold the base of the loop with your middle finger and your thumb. And then just yarn over. Turn the hook upside down and go through the loop for your slip knot. Go ahead and cinch that knot down and then pull the loop around the crochet hook. And now you're going to make a chain. So I'm just going to show a few chains on video tutorial. And then you're going to finish up with the chain of 81. So you just yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through the loop for your first chain. second, third, fourth. So go ahead, finish a chain of 81 and then come back. Now after you finish your chain of 81, you're going to make a single crochet into the 7th chain from the hook. So count back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then make a single crochet into the 7th chain from the hook. So bring up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, go ahead and yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through both loops for a single crochet. Now you're going to make a chain of 2, 1, 2, and then you're going to skip 1 stitch and make a double crochet into the 2nd stitch. So you just yarn over, go into the 2nd stitch, so skip 1 stitch, go into that 2nd stitch, bring up a loop, and then make a double crochet. So just yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through 2 loops. You have 2 loops remaining. Yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through the 2 remaining loops. Then you're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then you're going to skip the next stitch and then make a single crochet into the next stitch. So skip 1 stitch and then make a single crochet into that next stitch. And you're going to repeat this all the way back across. So you're going to chain 2, you're going to skip a stitch and then make a double crochet into the 2nd stitch. So you're alternating between your single crochet and your double crochet with a chain 2 in between and skipping 1 stitch. So now I'm going to chain 2. I'm going to skip a stitch and make a single crochet into the next stitch. Then I'm going to chain 2, skip a stitch, and then make a double crochet into the next stitch. So go ahead, repeat this pattern all the way across, and then come back. This is how your work should look when you reach the end. Then we're going to take and we're going to slip stitch into a circle. So you're going to fold it in half and then just make sure that it isn't twisted. So go ahead and fold it in half and make sure it's not twisted. Then you're going to make a slip stitch into the opposite side. So here is the single crochet, and then you're going to count from the single crochet stitch, count 2 back, 1, 2, and in the 3rd stitch from the single crochet is where you're going to make your slip stitch. So you take your crochet hook, go into that stitch, and then you're just going to take and yarn over and then bring the yarn through both loops on the hook to join into a circle. Then you're going to take your tapestry needle or darning needle and you're going to join that loose yarn end at the bottom of the ring. So we joined the top portion into a circle. Now you're going to take your tapestry needle and just join the bottom portion. So find the bottom stitch and then just join the bottom into a ring. And then you can take and tie a knot. And then I'm just going to leave my loose yarn end for now. And this helps me to show the back. I use my loose yarn end on the bottom as the yarn marker to show me when I'm back to the back of the outfit. So now you're going to have your work face you just like this, because we're going to be working towards the left. So I have the loose yarn end hanging down, and I have the work facing me just like this. Then you're going to chain 1. Then you're going to see that the first stitch from the previous row is a single crochet. So you're going to be working a different stitch into the single crochet than you're going to be working into the double crochet stitch from the previous row. So in the first single crochet stitch, you're going to be working a double crochet into that stitch. So you're skipping your chain 2, and you're going to work in only the single crochet and the double crochet stitches from the previous round. So in the first stitch, which is a single crochet, you're going to make a double crochet into that stitch. So just yarn over, go into your first single crochet stitch, and you're going to make a double crochet. Then you're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to make a double crochet into the same stitch. So just yarn over, go into the same stitch, and complete a double crochet. Then you're going to work a single crochet. You're going to skip over the chain 2 and make a single crochet into the double crochet stitch. So I'm going to go into the top stitch of that double crochet, bring up a loop, and then complete a single crochet. And you can see how you're forming the V-stitch here. And there's a little bit of a V-stitch with the double crochet, single crochet. So this is where you get a variation and a fun stitch pattern, crochet stitch pattern with the V-stitch. So now you're going to work into your next single crochet from the previous row. So you're skipping over the chain 2s from the previous row. And remember that in each single crochet stitch you're going to be working a double crochet, chain 3, double crochet. So just yarn over, go into that single crochet stitch from the previous row, and then complete your V-stitch, which in this case it'll be a double crochet, chain 3, and then double crochet into the same single crochet stitch. So it's going to be that easy. You're just going to repeat this pattern all the way around back to where you started. And again, I use my loose yarn end as a go-by or a yarn marker so I know when I reach the beginning. So now I'm going to make a single crochet into the top stitch of the next double crochet. And you're just going to repeat this pattern all the way around. So now my single crochet stitch from the previous row, I'm going to make a double crochet, chain 3, and then I'm going to make another double crochet into the same stitch. And then you have this gorgeous stitch pattern that you're creating. So I'm going to work one more set with you. So now I'm going to work a single crochet into the top stitch of the next double crochet. And then that will bring me back to my next single crochet. So in my next single crochet from the previous round, I'm going to make a double crochet, chain 3, and then I'm going to make another double crochet into the same stitch. So go ahead, finish repeating this pattern all the way around back to the beginning, and then come back. So this is what your work should look like now, and I have a total of 19 of the V-stitches around. So again, the V-stitch was the double crochet, chain 3 double crochet that you made all the way around, and then I ended with a single crochet stitch. Then you're going to slip stitch into the next stitch over, and then you're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now you're going to make a single crochet into the chain 3 loop. So that V-stitch from the previous round, that chain 3 loop that you created, you're going to go right into the center, bring up a loop, and then complete a single crochet. Then you're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then you're just going to double crochet into the previous row's single crochet. So just yarn over, go into that single crochet stitch from the previous round, and then just make a double crochet. Then you're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then just make a single crochet into the chain 3 space. And you're just going to repeat this pattern all the way around back to where you started. Then you're going to chain 2, and then double crochet into the previous round's single crochet. Chain 2, and then single crochet into the chain 3 space. So you're just going to keep repeating this pattern all the way around back to the beginning. Chain 2, double crochet into the single crochet space, chain 2, single crochet into the chain 3 space. So go ahead, finish repeating this pattern all the way around back to where we started. Now I finished with a double crochet and I'm back to where I started, and you should have a total of 19 single crochet on that last round, and then you end with your double crochet, and then you're going to make a slip stitch into that next stitch or the base of your chain 5 from the start of the round. So go into that base of that first chain 5 that you made and just make a slip stitch, and then you are just going to repeat the last 2 rounds that you made over and over until you reach the size that you want for your outfit. So it's that simple. So I'm going to make the 2 last rounds with you again. So you're going to start with your chain of 1, so now from the previous row you had your chain of 5. That chain of 5 counts as your double crochet and chain 2 before your single crochet stitch in that chain 3 loop from the previous round. So again, the last round that we made, you started with a chain of 5, which counts as your double crochet, chain 2, and then single crochet stitch. So for your first stitch for this round, you're going to make a single crochet into the top stitch of the double crochet from the previous round. So you're going to count back from the single crochet, 1, 2, and then that gives you the top stitch of the first round's double crochet, which was that chain 5 that you made from the previous round. So you're going to make a slip stitch into the top stitch of that chain 5, double crochet, or I could say that you're making a single crochet into the third chain of that chain 5 from the previous round. So you go ahead and make your single crochet, and then you're going to skip the 2 stitches and make a double crochet into the single crochet stitch from the previous round. So yarn over, go into that single crochet stitch and complete a double crochet. Then you're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to make a double crochet into the same stitch. So yarn over, go into that same stitch, and then complete your double crochet. So you finished your V-stitch. Then your next stitch in the round will be a double crochet. So you're going to make a single crochet into the top stitch of that previous round's double crochet. And you're just going to repeat this pattern all the way around. So that brings you to your next single crochet stitch. So you're going to work a double crochet into that previous round's single crochet. Then you're going to chain 3, and then double crochet into the same stitch to complete your V-stitch. And I'll make one more set with you. So you're going to single crochet into the top stitch of the previous round's double crochet. And then you're going to make a double crochet into the previous round's single crochet stitch. Then chain 3, and then double crochet into the same stitch. So go ahead, repeat this pattern all the way around back to where you started. So again, I ended that round with 19 V-stitches, and then I ended with a single crochet. So now I'm going to make a slip stitch into the next stitch, which was the first chain 1 that you made for the round. So just make a slip stitch, and then for the next round you're going to start with a chain of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And remember, this chain 5 counts as a double crochet plus a chain 2 for the round. Then you're going to repeat the same round that you did 2 rounds ago. So you're alternating between that round that we just made and this round for the rest of the outfit. So now you're going to make a single crochet into the chain 3 loop from the previous round, then chain 2, and then you're going to make a double crochet into the single crochet stitch from the previous round. then you're going to chain 2 and then make a single crochet into the chain 3 loop from the previous round. So you're just going to keep repeating this pattern all the way around. Chain 2, make a double crochet in the single crochet stitch from the previous round, chain 2, and then single crochet into the chain 3 loop from the previous round. So go ahead, finish repeating this pattern all the way around, and then come back. So now I ended with a double crochet for that round, and again for this round you should have 19 total single crochet stitches around, and then you should have ended with a double crochet. Then you're going to make a slip stitch into the base of the chain 5 that you started with, and then you're ready to start the next round. So again, for this round you're only going to chain 1. And then again, remember that you have a chain of 5, which counts as a chain 3 is the double crochet, and then chain 2 before the single crochet from the previous round. So you want to make a single crochet into the top stitch of the double crochet, which would be the 3rd chain in that initial chain 5 from the previous round. So I'm going to go into that 3rd chain from the previous round, and I'm going to make my single crochet. Then that brings you to, you're going to skip the chain 2 space, and then that brings you to your first single crochet. And remember, in your first single crochet you're going to make a double crochet, chain 3, and then double crochet in the same stitch to complete your V-stitch. Then that brings you to your double crochet from the previous round, and you're going to make a single crochet into the previous round's double crochet stitch. And then you're just going to repeat this pattern all the way around back to the beginning. So again, double crochet into the single crochet stitch, chain 3, and then double crochet into the same single crochet stitch from the previous round to complete your V-stitch. So go ahead, repeat that pattern all the way around back to the beginning. So now I'm back to where I started, and for beginners I would recommend counting just to make sure that you have the same amount of V-stitches. So again, after this round you should only have 19 V-stitches, and then I ended with a single crochet. And then I'm going to slip stitch into the base or into the next stitch, and you're just going to keep repeating the last 2 rounds, the V-stitch round with this single crochet, double crochet round, until it measures a total of 5 inches. You just measure, when it measures 5 inches, then you have the length that you need. So I'm going to go ahead and get you started with the next round. So now, to get started for the next round, remember you're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which counts as your double crochet chain 2. You're going to make a single crochet into the first chain 3 loop from the previous round. Then you're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then double crochet into the single crochet from the previous round, chain 2, and then single crochet into the chain 3 loop, and keep repeating. So go ahead, finish completing those last 2 rounds until your work measures 5 inches in length. After your work measures 4 inches, then you're finished. Now I'm back to the chain 5 that I started with. I'm going to make a slip stitch into the 3rd chain of that chain 5. Then you want to take the back seam where you left off, and you want to find the halfway mark. So you're going to line it up with the opposite side. We're going to make the leg portions now. So just measure, and it should be about 5 inches on both sides. So measure the center so that there's 5 inches on one side and 5 inches on the other. And then once you find the center, then you can take and make a slip stitch into that opposite stitch on the opposite side. So just yarn over and then bring the yarn through both loops on the hook for a slip stitch to join. And then you have the 2 pant leg loops that you're going to create. Then you're just going to continue repeating the same 2 rounds that you did for the main portion of the outfit. So for this round, you're going to start with a chain of 1, and then our first stitch is a single crochet, so we're going to make a double crochet, chain 3, double crochet into that single crochet space. So again, you're skipping the chain 2 spaces and just working with the single crochet stitch from the previous round and the double crochet stitch from the previous round. So now I'm going to chain 3 and then double crochet into the same single crochet stitch. Then I'm going to go to the double crochet stitch and just make a single crochet into that top stitch. And again, you're just going to repeat this pattern all the way around. And then you're going to alternate. When you finish this round, come back and I'll help you move up to the next round. So keep alternating your V-stitch with your single crochet stitch until you get back to where you started in the round, where you slip stitch to join. And again, we're working the 1 pant leg. So for mine, I had 9 triangles. So the V-stitches form a triangle. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 around one of the pant leg openings. And then I ended with a single crochet for the round. Then I'm going to make a slip stitch in the stitch right before your first V-stitch. So just make a slip stitch into that first stitch. Then you can get ready for your next round. So your next round will be a chain of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you can make a single crochet into the first chain 3 loop of the first V-stitch, then chain 2, and then make a double crochet into the single crochet stitch, chain 2, and then single crochet into the chain 3 loop. And so you're going to keep repeating these 2 patterns just like you did for the main body of the outfit. until the pant leg measures 3 inches, and then come back. So I just finished my second round, and I just wanted to show you how I ended the round. So I had a total of 9 single crochet, 1 single crochet for each of the previous rounds V-stitches, and then I ended the round with a double crochet stitch. So to complete the round, I'm going to go into the third stitch chain of that first chain 5, and then just make a slip stitch to join the round. And then remember, to start the next round, you just chain 1, and then you're going to make your V-stitch into the first single crochet. And then again, you just continue to alternate these 2 rounds until the one pant leg measures 3 inches. So mine measures 3 inches, and I ended mine with the V-stitch round. And then for the very last round, after you made your slip stitch to join that round, go ahead and chain 3. That will count as your first double crochet for your last round. And then you're just going to make a double crochet. So into the V-stitch, you're going to make 3 double crochet, and then in the single crochet, you're going to make 1 double crochet into the single crochet stitch from the previous round. And then that will bring you to your next chain 3 in the V-stitch, and you just make 3 double crochet into the chain 3 loop of the previous round's V-stitch. And you're just going to repeat this all the way around back to your first chain 3 that you made. So you just keep making your double crochet stitches, 1 double crochet into the single crochet stitch, and then 3 double crochet into the V-stitch. And just keep repeating that all the way around back to your initial chain 3. So for mine, I ended with 37 double crochet in the round, and I'm going to go ahead and make a slip stitch into the top stitch of that first double crochet that I made. Now if you're off by a few double crochet compared to mine, you don't have to worry. You just have to try and get the same number of double crochet on the opposite leg. So you just want to match the 2 legs so you don't have 1 smaller leg and 1 larger leg. And then after you make your slip stitch, go ahead and finish off, just yarn over and just pull enough yarn through to bury into your work. And then we're ready to make the other leg opening. So for mine, I'm going to join my yarn right before my single crochet stitch. So I'm going to go right into the center of the pants with my crochet hook, and that'll mean that I'm going to start with my single crochet stitch with a V-stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and join my yarn here. I have the right side facing me. I'm going to go ahead and chain 1 and then just tie a knot. Then this is going to be the V-stitch round. So for the V-stitch round, you just chain 1 and then make your V-stitch into the first single crochet. So I'm going to make a double crochet, chain 3, and then double crochet in the same stitch, just like we've done before on the opposite side. Then that brings you to the first double crochet in the round where you're going to make a single crochet. So go ahead and make this leg the same way that you made the other opening for the other leg. Now on the other leg I finished 9 triangles. So here's my first V-stitch. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, but I still have another stitch set left, and I don't want to make one leg larger than the other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a single crochet 2 stitches together so that I can close up this gap and make a smaller leg opening so that's equal to the same size as the other leg. So I'm going to go into the top stitch. I finished my V-stitch, and then I have my double crochet that I'm going to make a single crochet in, but this time I'm going to single crochet 2 stitches together, and the 2 stitches that I'm going to single crochet together are the double crochet and the single crochet stitch. So I just take my crochet hook, go into the double crochet stitch, bring up a loop, and then go into the single crochet stitch and then bring up a loop. Then I'm going to single crochet, I'm going to yarn over and bring all of the yarn through all 3 loops for a single crochet 2 stitches together. Then I'm going to slip stitch. Now I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch into the next stitch here, which is close to the starting. As you can see, this is where I joined. So I'm going to slip stitch, and then I'm going to slip stitch one more time, and that'll bring me back to where I started. Actually, I'm just going to keep slip stitching until I am back to where I started. So one more slip stitch should do it, right back to where I started. And then for the next round, you're going to start with a chain of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you're going to start your next round, which will be a single crochet into the previous round's V-stitch, then chain 2, and then you're going to double crochet into the single crochet stitch. So that's how you would make it so that the 2 legs are the same size. And then you just continue the same way. So you have equal numbers of V-stitches on this leg as you started with the opposite leg. So now this is my second round, and I'm almost back to my initial chain 5, and I want to end with the double crochet, but you can see that there's a little bit of a gap where we slip stitched and single crocheted 2 stitches together. So for my last double crochet, I'm going to double crochet 2 stitches together. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So you just take and yarn over, and then you're just going to go into the stitch. So here you can see where the first stitch, this is my V-stitch right here. So the first stitch would be right after the V-stitch. So I'm going to yarn over, go into the stitch right after the V-stitch. I'm going to bring up a loop. I have 3 loops on the hook. I'm going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through 2 of the loops only. And then I have 2 loops remaining on the hook. So I'm going to yarn over again, and then I'm going to go into the next stitch. And this stitch is right before the chain 5 that we started the round with. So I'm going to bring up another loop. Now I have 4 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through 2 of the loops. I have 3 loops remaining. I'm going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through the 3 remaining loops. And then that's double crochet 2 stitches together. And that just helps so that you don't have a gap, too large of a gap or opening between the V-stitch and your chain 5. So now I'm going to make a slip stitch into that first chain 5 into the 3rd chain of that first chain 5 to complete the round. And then you can see how you still have a beautiful design for the other pant leg, and you can't even tell that you made those extra stitches there, and you don't have any gaps in your other leg, and it's the same size as your other leg. Then you're ready for the next round, and for the next round you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to make a double crochet, chain 3, double crochet in the first chain, single crochet stitch in the round, just like you've done before. So now you just make this leg the exact same way that you made the opposite leg, and then come back. Now you should have both legs finished. It looks great. So this, you could tell, is the back seam for your outfit. So go ahead and turn it over. You can see how the front looks gorgeous. I just love this stitch. It's really cute. And you can see that both legs are equal in size. Now we're going to make the front flap that goes on the front. So make sure that you have the back seam on the back of the outfit, because we're going to be working on the front. So now you're going to need your stitch markers. I'm going to be using my little Yorkie dog stitch markers that I got from Pastiche Accessories. I have the link. If you go to my blog post, Small Businesses, you'll find the link to Pastiche Accessories. And I also gave similar stitch markers, they're not all the same, to each of my contestants for the Crochet Siberian Husky Dog contest for 2018. So you're going to want to measure 1.5 inches in on both sides, and then place your stitch marker. And then that will be about 4.5 inches between your stitch markers. So now you should have your stitch markers in place, ready to crochet the front flap. So I'm going to join my yarn in the same stitch that I have my stitch marker. For mine, I'm joining in the double crochet stitch. So my first stitch will be in the single crochet from the previous round, which means it will be a V-stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and join my yarn. I have the right side facing towards me on the outfit. Make sure you leave enough of a loose yarn end for burying into your work. On the wrong side, when we're finished, we'll bury the loose yarn ends. Then you can go ahead and chain 1. And then we're going to start with the V-stitch in the first single crochet stitch from the previous round. So I finished my first V-stitch. So then that brings me to my double crochet stitch from the previous round. So I'm going to make a single crochet into that stitch. And then you have your single crochet stitch, which you're going to make a V-stitch into. And you're going to repeat this pattern all the way to your next stitch marker. And then come back. So now I have 5 triangles or V-stitches between my stitch markers. Now I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch into the stitch marker, stitch, then go ahead and chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then go ahead and turn your work. And now I have the back of the outfit facing towards me, but we're only going to work into the front portion of the outfit. So now you're going to make a single crochet into the V-stitch or chain 3 loop, chain 2, and then double crochet into the single crochet from the previous row. And then you're just going to repeat this all the way across, just like you've done before, chain 2, and then single crochet into the V-stitch or chain 3 loop, and then just keep repeating chain 2, and then double crochet into the single crochet from the previous row. And then just repeat this all the way across to the other stitch marker. Then when you reach the opposite side, you can end. I finished a single crochet into the chain 3 loop, chain 2, and then double crochet into the same stitch as the stitch marker where you joined. Then you can chain 1, turn your work, and then you're going to go right back across. So then you have your single crochet stitch, so you're going to make your V-stitch into the single crochet stitch. So you're just going to repeat this pattern until you have the length that you want for the front of the outfit. So now I finished going back across, and then I have the chain 5 loop from the previous row. So I just finished my chain 3 loop or V-stitch. So now I'm going to make a single crochet into the 3rd chain of the previous row's chain 5. Then you can chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then turn your work, and then you're going to head back across. So for mine, I made 2 more rows to complete a total of, here you see, let me move this out of the way. So this was our first chain 3 loop row. So you can see how I have 1 chain 3 loop row here. This is my second chain 3 loop row. So I'm going to have a total of 3 chain 3 loop rows for my front flap. So now I'm just going to get you started on the next row. Remember, after your chain 5, you make a single crochet in the chain 3 loop, chain 2, and then double crochet into the single crochet. So that's how you change to move up to the next row So when you reach the end, just come back, and then I'll make sure that you know how to turn and move up to the next row again. So now I've reached the end, and I finished with a single crochet, then I chained 2 on the end, and then I'm going to make a double crochet onto the end stitch. Then I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, and then I'm going to make my V-stitch into the first single crochet. Then make a single crochet into the double crochet stitch from the previous row, and just repeat across. So then, after you finish that third diamond row, call it a diamond row or a V-stitch row, then you can go ahead and finish off. Now this also measures 2 inches for this front flap, so the length is 2 inches from the stitch marker to the top. Then I'm going to go ahead and finish off, just yarn over and just pull enough yarn through to bury into your work. So now you should be on the back of the outfit. We're going to make the back straps for the outfit. So find your back seam. So here is the seam in the back of the outfit. Then you're going to find your second double crochet. So from the seam, I have my single crochet, double crochet, single crochet, and then double crochet. So on your second double crochet, you're going to join your yarn. And then just tie your knot. And then go ahead and just chain 1. And then we're going to make a V-stitch in your first single crochet stitch from the previous round. So go into that single crochet stitch and make your V-stitch. Then you're going to single crochet into the double crochet stitch from the previous round. And then you're going to make a V-stitch into that last single crochet before the seam. So you have your V-stitch, single crochet, V-stitch, and then that brings you to your seam in the back of the outfit. So then go ahead and make a slip stitch into that seam. Then you're going to go ahead and chain 5. Then you're going to turn your work, and then you're just going to repeat the pattern that you know. So in the chain, excuse me, in the chain 3 loop, make a single crochet, then chain 2, and then double crochet into the single crochet stitch, chain 2, single crochet into the chain 3 space of the previous row, then chain 2, and then double crochet into the same stitch that you first joined your yarn. Then you're going to chain 1 and turn your work. So remember that when it's a V-stitch row, so the previous row was single crochet, chain 2, double crochet. So now we're making the V-stitch row. On a V-stitch row, it's associated with the chain 1. And then on the other side, when you're making your single crochet, chain 2, double crochet, it's associated with a chain of 5. So now I have a chain of 1, and I'm going to make my V-stitch into the first single crochet from the previous row. Then I'm going to single crochet into the double crochet stitch, and then make a V-stitch into the single crochet stitch. So then that brings me to my chain 5 from the previous row. I'm going to make a single crochet into the third chain of that chain 5. Then you're going to chain 5 to move up to the next row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then turn your work, and you're just going to keep repeating this pattern until you have the length that you need for your strap. So again, remember, you're going to make a single crochet into the chain 3 loop, chain 2, double crochet into the single crochet stitch, chain 2, single crochet into the chain 3 loop, chain 2, and then double crochet into the chain 1 from the previous row. Then you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and then you just keep repeating this pattern, those 2 alternating rows. So now it's a V-stitch into the single crochet from the previous row, single crochet into the double crochet stitch. So go ahead, finish the length that you need for your strap. When I come back, I'll show you the length that I have. So now I'm finished with my back strap. Mine measures 4 inches in length from the top of the outfit up to the end of the strap. Then, after I finish my last row, which I ended with the double crochet, single crochet row, now we're going to make our button loop. So after I finished my last double crochet, so I had a single crochet in the V-stitch from the previous row, then I chained 2 and then made a double crochet on the end. Then I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work. So now this row, you can change the size of the buttonhole that you need. For mine, I'm just going to make a chain 4 buttonhole, but if you need a larger buttonhole, just center it in the center of the strap and then make the chain whatever length you need for your buttonhole. So I'm making my chain 4 button loop to fit this size button, which is about 1 inch. So now I'm going to slip stitch into the chain 2 loop on the end. I'm going to slip stitch twice in that chain 2 loop. Actually just once, and then go into the single crochet stitch and then just make a single crochet. Then you can make your chain of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then make a single crochet into the next single crochet stitch. So you're going to skip right over any stitches in between. And then you can just slip stitch into the loop on the end. Then chain 1, turn your work, you're going to slip stitch into the single crochet stitch. Then just make 4 single crochet into the chain 4 loop. Now if you made a larger chain loop, you would single crochet the number of chains in your loop. So since I had a chain of 4, I'll make 4 single crochet into the chain 4 loop. If you had a chain of 5, you would make 5, chain of 6, 6, etc. So since I have a chain of 4, I'm going to make 4 single crochet into that chain 4 loop. And that's just going to strengthen your button loop. Then I'm going to slip stitch into the next stitch. Then you can go ahead and finish off. Just yarn over and just pull enough yarn through to bury into your work. So you finished one side. Now we're going to work on the other strap. So now this is the one strap that we just finished. I'm in the back. I have the back facing me. Here's the back seam. And I'm going to join in the stitch right before the single crochet stitch. So here is my single crochet stitch. Here is my double crochet stitch. And here is my second single crochet stitch and my second double crochet stitch. So remember, we want 2 V-stitches. So I'm going to join, this is my first single crochet stitch, so I'm going to join in the stitch right at my seam, which is right before the single crochet stitch. So I'm going to join my yarn there. This is my other loose yarn end. I'm going to move that out of the way. Chain 1. And then just tie a knot with my current loose yarn end. Then I'll show you how to bury the loose yarn ends when we're finished. Then you're going to go right into, after you chain 1, you're going to go right into your first single crochet. So you're going to double crochet, go into that single crochet stitch to make your V-stitch, chain 3, and then double crochet in the same stitch to complete your V-stitch. Then you're going to single crochet into the double crochet stitch, V-stitch into your next single crochet stitch, then you can go ahead and slip stitch into the double crochet stitch. So I'm going to slip stitch into that stitch. Then I'm going to chain 5. And then turn my work. And then I'm going to go back across the second strap. So in your V-stitch, remember, you're going to make a single crochet, chain 2, and then double crochet into the single crochet stitch, chain 2, and then single crochet into the V-stitch, that second V-stitch, chain 2, and then double crochet into the stitch where you joined, and then you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and then go back across. So your first single crochet, you're going to make your V-stitch. So again, I'm just getting you started so that you remember the pattern. But you're just going to keep repeating this the exact same way that you made the other strap. Single crochet into your double crochet stitch. And both straps should look the same when you're finished. So I'm going to turn you one more time, and then I'll just let you finish making your strap. So now I have the chain 5 loop on the end. I'm going to make a single crochet into the third chain of that chain 5 loop on the end. And then I'm going to chain 5, turn my work, and then single crochet into the V-stitch, chain 2, and then double crochet in the single crochet stitch. So go ahead, finish your second strap, and then come back. Now just take and turn your work inside out so that the wrong side is facing you. We're going to bury the loose yarn ends. Just take your tapestry needle or darning needle and just put that loose yarn end onto the needle. And then you're just going to weave it through the wrong side of your work. And then I like to go back in the opposite direction. And then just take and trim the loose yarn end. So go ahead, bury any of your loose yarn ends, and then come back. Then I'm just going to take my thin tapestry needle and put my yarn onto the tapestry needle. You can use your DMC yarn threader if you need help getting the yarn on your needle. Then you're just going to sew the buttons into each of the top corners of that front flap that you created. So this is what my buttons look like after I sewed them in place. And then you could see that I buried my loose yarn ends nicely so that you can't even tell. Now I'm going to show you how to make the pocket that goes on the front. So go ahead and set your outfit aside for now. We're going to make the pocket. Go ahead and get whatever colored yarn that you want for your pocket. And then just fold the yarn over on itself to form a loop. Take your crochet hook, go right through the loop, hold the base of the loop with your middle finger and thumb. Just yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through the loop for a slip knot. Go ahead and cinch that knot down and then cinch the loop around your hook. We're going to make a chain of 17. I'm just going to show you a few of them. Yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through the loop for 1, 2, 3, 4. So go ahead, finish a chain of 17 and then come back. So now you're going to make a single crochet in the 7th chain from the hook. So count back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And make your single crochet into the 7th chain from the hook. Then you're going to chain 2, 1, 2, skip 1 chain, and then make a double crochet into the 2nd chain. So yarn over, skip a chain, and make a double crochet into that second chain. Then you're going to chain 2 again. Skip a chain and then make a single crochet into that second chain. And then you're just going to keep repeating that all the way across. Chain 2, skip a chain and make a double crochet. So you're alternating single crochet, double crochet with a chain 2 in between, and then you're skipping a chain. Chain 2, skip a chain and then single crochet. Chain 2, and then end with a double crochet in the last stitch. So skip a stitch and then end with a double crochet. And then we just finished our first row. Now we're going to move up to the next row. So you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and then our first stitch will be the single crochet. So we're going to make our V-stitch into the single crochet. So remember, you're going to double crochet into that single crochet stitch from the previous row. Chain 3, and then double crochet into the same stitch. So now you're probably recognizing the same stitch pattern that we've made before. So now you're going to single crochet into the top stitch of the double crochet from the previous row, and then you're going to make a V-stitch into the single crochet. So go ahead, finish this stitch pattern across to the end, and then come back. Now we've reached the end, so you're going to go ahead and make a single crochet into the top stitch. Actually, a couple stitches over. Just make a single crochet, and then we're going to move up to the next row, which is a chain of 5. And then turn your work, and then for this row you're going to make a single crochet into the chain 3 loop or the V-stitch, chain 2, and then double crochet into the single crochet stitch. And then just repeat this pattern. You're going to be alternating these two patterns. I'm just going to work it with you so you remember what to do. So single crochet into the V-stitches, chain 2, and then double crochet into the single crochet stitches. I'm just going to go ahead and finish this row with you. Chain 2, single crochet into the V-stitch, chain 2, and then end with the double crochet on the end. Then you're going to chain 1 to move up to the next row, and then this is going to be the V-stitch row, so you're going to make a V-stitch into the first single crochet from the previous row. So I'm going to finish my V-stitch, and then you make a single crochet into the top stitch of the double crochet. So go ahead and finish this row, your V-stitch row, and then come back. So that brings me to the end, and I have a chain 5 on the end. So I'm going to make a single crochet into the third chain of the chain 5, and then you chain 1, actually chain 5 to move up to the next row. Turn your work, and then you can make your pocket the length, whatever length that you want. So for mine, I'm probably going to make 2 more rows, 1 more V-stitch row. But for this row, remember I have a V-stitch from the previous row, so I'm going to make a single crochet into that V-stitch, chain 2, and then double crochet into the single crochet stitch, and then just repeat that pattern back across. So this is how my work looks so far. I'm going to make 1 more V-stitch row, so I'm going to move up, I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, and then make my last V-stitch row, and then that will create a nice depth for my pocket. So I'm going to give you the measurement as soon as I finish this row. So remember, for this row it's a V-stitch, and then it's a single crochet into the top of the double crochet from the previous row. Just repeating that all the way across. So on mine, looks like there's a little, sometimes you'll get these flaws in your crochet, your yarn. I'm going to go ahead and fix it. I'm just going to do it on video so you can see how I fix mine. So I just snip out the flaw because I don't want the work to come undone. So I finished with a single crochet in the previous row's double crochet. I'm going to go ahead and tie a knot. So you want to make sure you leave enough of a loose yarn end as well, because you're going to have to bury the loose yarn end. So now you have a stronger knot rather than the flaw in your work. And I'll just bury that loose yarn end later. So now I'm going to make my last V-stitch. And then I'm going to single crochet on in the third chain of the five chain on the end. Then I'm going to go ahead and finish off. Just yarn over and make sure you pull enough yarn through to sew the pocket in place. So now you can bury any loose yarn ends and then get ready to sew your pocket onto the outfit. And then before I forget, I'm just going to give you the measurements. So the measurement of my pocket is about 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches. Then just take and center your pocket onto the front of the outfit, just below the buttons. Make sure that your starting chain for the pocket is on the bottom and that the more decorative portion is facing up. Then just take the long end that you left for sewing, put it onto your darning needle or tapestry needle. Make sure that if you don't have a long end for sewing, that you use the same color as the pocket. And then you're just going to sew all along the side, the bottom, and the other side. And make sure you're not sewing it to the back of the outfit. It should only go to the front portion of the outfit. And then you just go in and out, sewing the pocket to the outfit. This is what my pocket looks like after I have it sewn on, and this is what it looks like on the wrong side. If you like the keys and the locket that I chose to put into the pocket, the keys come in a pack of 5. This is a wood embellishment. This is by Moments. Oops, sorry. Moments. Wood embellishment comes with 5 pieces. I've already used a lot of them. And then the locket that I used, Curiouser and Curiouser by Fairy Tale, Bead Treasures. I just used my little vintage metal beading hook to go through the top of the locket, and then you can grab your yarn with the little hook on the end and then just bring it through. It's really nice. Then you can also just take and tie the key in place as well. For the key, I just tied 7 knots, and then I'm just going to trim the end. Make sure that the knot is secure. Then I just took and tied a knot, leaving some room between the key and the locket. Just tied a knot on the locket itself. Then I just left a little bit extra yarn, and then I'm going to tie this to the pocket. So I just took that long end that I left, put it onto my tapestry needle, and then I'm just going to tie a knot for mine onto one edge of the pocket, and then I'm just going to bury my loose yarn end. Down the edge of the pocket. Then you have a little locket and a little key for your pocket. And then your outfit's ready to go onto your elf. So for mine, I crisscrossed the back straps and then put the button loops in place, and this is what the outfit looks like on your elf. And again, there's separate video tutorials for the elf, and you can also make a scarf. So if you want a scarf, the scarf is at the end of the girl elf dress video tutorial.